Are the Nvidia earnings saving the crypto market? In this video, we're going to speak about obviously the Nvidia earnings. We're going to speak about why Bitcoin went to $88.5 thousand and now is trading again at 92,000, even went to 93,000. And of course, what are the next steps for trading setups in my personal view? Let's start into the video. I'm super excited to speak about the current market. Actually, a lot happened and happens in this week. So let's start into it. And by the way, please leave me a comment down below how you like my videos. I just started again on YouTube, so I'm definitely, eager to know. Doesn't matter if it's a positive or negative comment. I'm definitely interested in your point of view. But let's start into the video, what's happening this week. And before we speak about that, we definitely speak about the Nvidia earnings, because as Shay Bowler said here, Nvidia delivered, and he is indeed right. Because if we are taking a look at the numbers that Nvidia shared for their quarterly earnings, then we are definitely delivered, or they delivered over expectancy, because the sales here are at 57 billion versus an estimate of 55 billion. So we have an not an increase, but a higher sales than expected of $2 billion. The EPS as well is higher, $1.30 versus estimated $1.26. And also the data center sales are very much higher than expected. Expected was $48.6 billion in data center sales, and it was actually $51.2 billion in data center sales. Also, the gross margins, they are basically like expected, 74%. And also the Q4 guidance increased now due to the numbers from $62 billion estimate now to 65 billion. So very, very positive news. Is that enough to push the market to the upside? On the short term, yes. On the long term, in my personal opinion, that's not gonna be enough. This week, exactly today, we have a lot of like interesting news though that are definitely gonna be impacting for the markets. Why? We do have today at 2:30 Central European Time Zone, about 1.5 hours. If I upload the video, most likely in like an hour or so, we do have the um, for example, like non-farm payrolls, we have the unemployment rates, like basically the labor market data, and they're really important. Why? Well, in general, the Federal Reserve is interested in lowering the inflation rate, right? Um, and the inflation rate is always a very important figure. Jerome Powell even said this year that the inflation rate is, when we speak about interest rate cuts, right? Because this is all what the market is looking out for, because then we see more liquidity. He mentioned that the labor market is not as important as the inflation rate. So, but what happens if the labor market has big amount of negative numbers? So we see more jobless claims, we see more like a higher unemployment rate, um, a higher non-farm payroll, right? Then obviously the Federal Reserve is basically pushed to use one of their tools, and one of their tools is the interest rate, right? They can cut or increase the interest rate in order to basically gain something from it. And now we are, of course, having, in the last meeting, we already had a rate cut, and the market is obviously eager to see another rate cut, because what happens if we have a rate cut? Potential more liquidity is coming into the market. We also have quantitative tightening ending in December. That means that obviously the Federal Reserve is not holding back money anymore. So again, new liquidity potentially coming into the markets beginning of December. So everything lining up from fundamental side of things, but we definitely need a good report today, like good data that are pushing the narrative of an interest rate cut on, I think, 10th of December. We're going to take a look in a bit. Um, but yeah, that's very, very important. So again, like if we see basically a bad labor market, that also means that the like the likelihood of an interest rate cut is significantly increasing. So all eyes on today 2:30, that the numbers maybe are even worse than expected. Right now, non-farm payroll for September 22,000 is expectancy. The last one was 22,000. The forecast is 53,000. In general, we also had some infos that the last non-farm payroll is not coming because of the government shutdown. We had yeah, the non-farm payroll, or in general, all the labor market data are not they didn't get published, and now they even said that they're not publishing it. So right now this is really important to see how these numbers are basically playing out. But right now, what is a little bit more negative, on the 10th of December, as I just said before, the Federal Reserve will decide about an interest rate cut or not, and the likelihood right now of like not cutting rates is right now at 74%, right? So this is definitely something that we have to take an eye on. We also see that the previous week probability was at 56%. Now we have it at 78%. So we are increasing right now that the likelihood of an interest rate cut is less and less, which of course the market prices in as well. So again, all eyes on the data today, because of course, if the data is playing into yeah, the need of cutting the interest rates, then of course these numbers will be switched up. But right now we see a lot of uncertainty in the market, which also obviously implies on the crypto market. So that's why we don't really see a clear movement to the upside, right? But let's take a look on the current market, because I don't want to have a long video here. We spoke about in the last video that there was obviously a potential of some more buys. We had some setups here for sure, but now we even went to a higher low at 88.58. Is that now really bad? Well, bearish momentum is definitely here all the time. We see also here on the higher time frame. I mean, it's pretty clear where we are going right now. We are definitely on the short term here on a bearish trend. But what did we see here? I'm not really sure if we actually spoke about that in the video, but we had some nice pattern to the downside. I actually also took some short-term Bitcoin sell here, because what we can see is basically very nice structure. I marked it out here already. We have a high, we have a low, simple market structure, high, low, lower high, and then we basically broke the structure here to the downside. Oops, right? Which basically showed us, okay, we are in a downtrend. What I'm doing then is I'm taking the reverse Fibonacci retracement, and I'm taking trades, or I'm looking for possibilities in the 61.8 to the 71, and after in the 78 to the 88.6. I'm breaking this one here down in a second because it was a lower time frame trade. But what I do want to say here is that Bitcoin actually went very nicely in the selling areas from this zone here. How do we use that? Basically very simple. We use the Fibonacci extension level here, like the trend-based Fib extension. We put it here, here, and here, because we have a confirmed trend to the upside. Last significant high, we broke here the low, so we have here a significant low, and here we created a new lower high, which was obviously confirmed only when we broke this one, because then we knew that was the lower high. And then here are the selling zones, like the extension levels, where I'm thinking about taking profits if I would be, or let's say it is basically an indication where the market can potentially go and then see a reaction. And here we see it, 90,130 down to 88,743. It basically reacted very nicely here from the 89 extension. We had an increase in price then, but still we had a very nice selling setup here as well, because obviously if we're taking a look here on the markets, we saw here this small bullish area in the MACD, which showed us, okay, this is basically the new trading range. So I used the Fibonacci here from top to low, and then we had this gray zone here from the 61.8 to the 71, and then I switched on the lower time frame. And what we saw here was very nicely, both on the 15 minutes, we got a confirmation here too. but on the 5 minutes, I'm just gonna go here. It looked even a little bit clearer. So what you can see here, typical setup in crypto, we have a double top. Other way around would be a double bottom. So we have here a high, same that we did right before on the other time frame. We have a low and we have a higher low, right? When we created this and we broke here the structure to the downside, we saw, okay, nice. This is definitely a structure that I do want to trade. So what I do want to see is a pullback from this area. So all the time when we see that, we come into the area, we want to see a clear change of character to the downside, which we have seen here, because we have a significant high, significant low, significant lower high. So we didn't break this last high here, and then we broke structure to the downside. So what I simply did was, again, taking the Fibonacci here to the low, and then we saw, okay, we have this zone here. I'm trading in the retracements from the 50% to the 100% level here, which you see here. I'm going to do this in red, which you see here. What I also did as like a double confirmation, just to see where's the volume in this area here that I just marked out. And you can see I used, I know that it's now a little bit messy here, but what you can see here is in this range here, from here to here, with a fixed range volume profile, we had here the point of control. So that basically means that buyers and sellers gave each other the hand. There was the most volume, right? So I did want to see something like this, exactly what happened. My entry was actually even on the 1 minute time frame, so it was a scalp here as well. But oops, but also we got confirmation on the more higher time frame. You can see here what I did is simple. Switch to the 1 minute, waited for the point of control to touch. Here was the market oversold in the RSI. We had an engulfing candle and also 3 soldiers, and then I basically went in. I tried to cover the last highs here, right? And what I did then to basically understand, okay, where can the market potentially go? The same thing that I already explained before, because we have this double top confirmation here. We use again the Fibonacci, the trend-based Fibonacci extension. We put it here, put it here, we put it here. And then the areas, like the profit targets were here at the, sorry, I already deleted this one. 1 second. So there we go. We have here, let me actually delete this one. This was the 15-minute setup. We have here 92,000 to 91,711. Here I actually also closed my trade. I was totally happy, but it's very nice to see. I just want to be transparent here. It's very nice to see that it even went to all the extension levels here. So I could have potentially, yeah, basically went to the 4 extension. That would be like the full TP, and it would be a nice 7.9 risk to reward, 3.9% down. Very, very nice. We even got a confirmation then on the 15-minute though, which was the extension that I had before. It's just my scalping point of view. Here we go. So here you guys can see it as well. We had 15-minute break to the downside, pull back, and then break. So again, it's very, very much predictable what can happen. Of course, it's not always right. Of course, it's not always happening, but these kind of things I am definitely trading. This time I only took like a 1 to 4, something like that. I was really happy with the result. So I took my profits, went to sleep in peace, and well, then we saw de-escalation. Why that really happened? Well, there's not really a big reason for it, just some uncertainty in the market in general. But what we can see is we have done basically our job, right? We basically came exactly in the zone. We extended a little bit more, but like the final first zone of this setup here was 88,743. So it's nothing like unexpected what happens here in Bitcoin, right? Of course, you never know when that happened, but the setup is definitely here. And now we have created a new 1 hour setup, which we can then again use to potentially sell this market, right? So I'm going to delete this one here now. And what we see clearly on the 1 hour, we have another MACD high here. So what we can do, let me actually delete this one here. So what we can do now, we can see again, okay, where are potential areas to sell the market, right? And here we can see it once again, that if we are taking this trading range here, we have another interesting zone, which we just came in. 88.6, 78.6, as I said before. Now we of course wait for structure. And what I see here right now is, yes, we have now a structure break to the downside. We have a clear break to the downside. So if I would take a look out or take out or watch out for sells now, I would personally consider taking these in this area here after we had the break. So if you're watching out for sells, that would be my personal area here. Definitely would take that. For take profit scenarios, it's right now we need a retracement and then a lower low. So then we can kind of see, okay, where can the market potentially go? But let's just assume we do something like this here, and then have, let's say, the last high here, we break this low here clearly, then we have another exit zone, or let's say, yeah, selling areas of our sell position here between 90,153 to 89,494. And then the extension, of course, if we break the whole structure, then we can even go more down. Personally, I would really like to see buys here, because again, we have now a clear break to the upside now on the lower time frame too, which can be a potential confluence here. So when we take a look here, of course, the point of control is up there, so we definitely need to see also how the data is coming out. But I would definitely try to buy the market again. This is like the only setup I would personally take. If we are coming down into these areas down here, 61.8 to the 71, so that would be exactly the area which is basically the zone where I would place my take profits when we potentially get a sell here on BTC. Obviously, if we invalidate this one, so we create new highs, well, then it's another cup of tea. But as long as we don't touch the 50% zone before we hit a new high, we still have the same trading range. So we just do basically increase our Fibonacci retracement depending where the last high is, and then our entry zones for buy just increase or go a little bit more higher. So as of right now, we do need to see some sort of reaction. Sells are definitely in place, so you can see if we can have a retracement here, we get an entry confirmation. Then I would definitely take the sells with zones or potential targets in the 61.8 to the 71 area here of the potential 30-minute buy setup. But this is right now what I'm thinking about Bitcoin. Let me know if you guys understood everything. I know that it's pretty quickly done, but I also need to take a look at the charts again. I'm live trading as well. So this is a quick market update. Hope you guys liked it. And obviously we have around 1 hour for the jobless claims, the non-farm payroll, etc. So let's see how that plays out. Maybe we get some movement before potential entry, and then we can see. But obviously overall, I would really like for Bitcoin to make more clearer moves to the upside, and even potentially or hopefully breaking some clear highs here. So the next clear target that needs to break for bullish scenarios is definitely the 96,000 area. With that being said, guys, thank you so much. Hope you liked it. With that being said, have a great day, and talk to you very soon.